Hey, Joe here from Home Studio Corner. I want to talk to you today about why you need to own it. What am I talking about? Let me tell you a story. You may know my buddy Tim Horsley. Tim's a great drummer. He's played on so many of my albums. We've played shows together. Just a great guy. Great friend, great drummer, great musician, and he's smart. So Tim has a buddy named Scotty Huff. Scotty is another phenomenal musician. He's a guitar player. He also plays a bunch of other stuff. He's one of those really good musicians that almost makes you angry. They're that good. I've done one session with Scotty and lots of sessions with Tim. Well, Scotty and Tim, years ago, they toured together with all sorts of country artists and things like that. They decided to start this little company doing events. So putting together an event band for different events around the country, whether it's a festival or like a corporate event where they need a band. So the other night I was at dinner with Tim, and he was telling me about this event they just did for this big corporation that has this annual event where they all came down to Texas and they would do like award shows and all these different like things would happen over the course of like 3 or 4 days. And Tim and Scotty were able to book that gig as kind of the house band for this event. So Tim was telling me, even though they rented a tour bus, hired a whole bunch of musicians, full horn section, full band, the whole deal, with rehearsals, with driving down there, accommodations, everything, when they got back, he still walked away with thousands of dollars in his pocket after paying all those expenses. And I asked him, I said, so when you've toured with artists, doing like a weekend tour or a multi-week tour, did you ever make that kind of money for 4 days work? And he said, absolutely not. And I told him I love it because he took ownership. He and Scotty said, we're gonna create this thing that's gonna be valuable and we're gonna find a way to turn that into a business that's gonna make money. And it made good money, it made more money than they would make sitting around waiting for someone to call them to take them on tour. And that's the point I wanna make. Too many people build their entire strategy for making it in music or even just making more music on this idea of sitting around waiting for this thing to ring. And that's their entire strategy. It's just a bad strategy. The technology we have available to us today, 30 years ago, you couldn't have this type of stuff in your home. It was too expensive. You had to spend thousands of dollars to go book a studio to make a record, or you had to have hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a studio in your own space. It was cost prohibitive. Well, now we can use a phone and can record stuff that sounds great. Go check out Graham's video he did a couple days ago. You can do great work with minimal equipment. So the equipment and the cost is no longer the prohibiting factor, you are. So if you are sitting around waiting for someone to pick you, you need to change the way you think about things. Take ownership of your future. Take ownership of what you do and realize that you have a lot of power to change and affect what happens to you. You don't have to sit and wait for a record label to pick you. You don't have to sit and wait for someone to say, hey, you're good, I want you to produce my record. Start producing records, start making music, start playing shows, start doing the things that you want to do. And opportunities, the big opportunities may still come. You may still need to wait for them. But if all you're doing is waiting, you're wasting your time. So while you're waiting for that big gig to come along, which may very well happen, you need to be doing stuff now to make yourself more valuable and finding ways to create value in today's world. For example, years ago, I wanted to start blogging and doing videos and articles and podcasts about audio. I didn't wait for someone to hire me to do that. I didn't wait for Sound on Sound or Mix Magazine to say, hey Joe, you're good at this. We're gonna pay you to come make content for us. I started doing it. The technology was such that I could create a blog for almost no money, and I could make videos and post them on YouTube, and I could build this thing that has now turned into a business that I support my family with. But it didn't happen because someone chose me. I chose myself and I decided to dive in. Here's the thing about choosing yourself. You have no clue how it's gonna go. It could go badly, it could go well. But the thing I can guarantee is if you don't choose yourself and you just wait around, then you know nothing's gonna happen. Yes, you might get that phone call, but if you don't get that phone call, then what? You're stuck. I would much rather you take ownership and figure out a way to create value and make yourself indispensable to the world than sit around and wait for somebody else to do that for you. Now, if you're looking for a good challenge, You may know that I have a VIP membership. You should join. This month we kicked off a big 4-month challenge where members are going to go through the process of releasing one single song. For some people that might seem daunting. 4 months might seem like a short amount of time. For some people it might seem super long. Either way, we're going to go through that process in bite-sized chunks. So specifically, I want everybody to do it, but specifically the people who've never actually released something, whether their own music or for a client, I want them to go through that process, and that's what we're doing. So if you want to join us on that challenge, and give yourself that little tiny kick in the rump to get you moving in the right direction, to start picking yourself and doing the thing you've said you've always wanted to do, come join my VIP membership. The link is below. It's a lot of fun, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. All right, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. See ya.